the templating, and we have seen like how to avoid creating the DOM elements dynamically and create a template and dynamically inject the values into the template, and how do you add it on the page. So those things we had a look onto, right? And yeah, I mean, by using the templating concept, we could able to save 1 second, guys. Yeah, we could able to save time by avoiding creating the DOM elements dynamically, isn't it? We don't need to go with every time creating the DOM elements. We can simply create a static template, and only thing is inject the data dynamically to the template. So that is what we have seen. On that, we even discussed that there are a lot of templating APIs are there. Among that, Handlebars is the one what we have already used. And not only Handlebar, I mean, there are multiple. Every template API is almost like their intention is same, to not to go with the DHTML concepts or unnecessarily create the DOM elements, but make use of the simple template. Only the methods what we use and the way they are going to perform, that is what differs, but everything else is going to be the same there, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah.
What else? On the top, we have even discussed a bit about what do you mean by MongoDB, why the reason people go with the MongoDB, a bit of information of the MongoDB along with the installation. That is what we have seen. So hope everybody is ready with installation of the MongoDB along with the Mongo Compass. Right, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So once you open this bin folder, so here you have a Mongo command prompt. So this is how a Mongo command prompt will be there. By default, Mongo is a CUI, character user interface. So anything you want to interact with the MongoDB, we are going to do with some commands. Okay, we are going to put some commands, and based on the response, I mean, based on that, we are going to perform it. Okay, I mean, everything what we do, we are going to use it, we are going to do it inside the command prompt. Okay. So on the top, yesterday we have even discussed something about MongoDB, where the data will be stored in the form of a JSON. If we go with the actual RDBMS databases like Oracle or SQL or etc., the data will be stored in the form of a table. And the limitation what you have is you need to define the schema before. You need to specify that what is the table, how many columns are going to have, and what column will store what type of data. You need to define the schema of it. Okay, but here, when you go with the MongoDB, as it is storing the data in the form of a JSON object, it is not needed to define the schema. You can create an object and any number of values you can insert. And another main advantage what you have is you don't need to have all the records or all the documents having the same structure. Okay, and yesterday I have shown you one of the example, right? What do you mean by document? In your general table concept, document means a row. Okay, so let me show you again, comparing RDBMS with MongoDB, and we have seen this example, right? So if you see here, database is database. In your RDBMS, there is a table. Here we call it as a collection. In your RDBMS, we call it as a row. Here we call it as a document. Here we call it as a column. Here we call it as a fields. So here, when you see row here in your table, every row should have the same type of, every row should have the same type of structure. Value could be different, but coming to the documents, it's not mandatory to have the same type of structure for every other element. Okay, so you can have any type of structure for every document here. Okay, not mandatory to have the same. Okay, so these are the advantages we have. And one more thing, guys, remember we have already saw JSON. We have already saw JSON-P. Yes. Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, right. We have seen the JSON JavaScript object notation and JavaScript object notation as a parameter, where we have seen the cross-domain communication, etc. stuff. On the top right now, we are going to talk about something called as BSON. So what do you mean by this BSON? So it is a binary format of creating or binary format of the JSON object. We call it as a BSON. Internally, MongoDB is going to store the documents or JSON object what we are storing under a collection in the form of binary format. binary, what do you say, binary format of the object, whatever you have, which we call it as a BSON. Okay, binary script object notation, whatever the JSON object is there, it's same almost. You as a end user, as a developer, we are not going to put anything in the binary format, but internally it stores the data in the form of binary format. Okay, guys, just give me a second. My system got down. Let me switch on the charger. One second, guys. It got down. Just give me a second. I'll reboot it.
Okay, sir.
Let me go with the C drive. Program files, MongoDB server Pi 5.0 bin install MongoDB. Okay. Oh, let me show one more thing. So by default, whenever you open your MongoDB, MongoDB is going to defaultly run on 127. Where is the port number, man? 127. 12027 is the one where it actually runs on the port number. Line number 2, it is the 12707. So this is the port number where actually your MongoDB is going to run. This is my IP, and this is where actually the default port number where MongoDB is going to run, guys. Okay. Now here the very
port number.
Okay, port number means, remember when you actually go with the Node.js, we were specifying a port number. Now you see here, you go to any of the servers, Node.js server, MongoDB server, Python server, or PHP server. Whenever you go with any of the server, you need to specify a port number. So port number is almost like a gateway of a system through which people can access the data or people can interact with the particular thing. Now, when you put your file inside your C drive, it is not accessible to the other systems. But when you put the file into one of the server, it can be accessible through what? Through the system name and through the gateway, which is called as a port number. So port number is something like a gateway through which you could able to interact with the particular server. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter whatever the server you go here, either application server, web server, DB server, anything you go, everywhere you'll be having the port number. If you remember, like our Node.js is running under the 8081 port number, and by default, MongoDB is going to run on the 27017 port number. Okay. Yeah. So as I said you, it is a CUI, character user interface. But if you ask me, like, do we have a GUI also, graphical user interface? We are going to talk about that. There is something called as a Mongo Compass. Hope you have already installed the Mongo Compass when you are installing the MongoDB. Anyway, we'll go with that. First of all, let us understand what can we do with your CUI. So the very first command what you have is DB. DB is a predefined command which tells you or which gives the list of all the, what is the current database which is being used. Okay. Now, when I say DB here, what is the default DB it is showing? It is showing a test DB. Now, when I say show DBS, it will show you what all the list of databases which are available. I have admin DB, I have config DB, local DB, shopping DB, social den DB. Now, MongoDB is one of the server. Under that, we have multiple databases. Okay, MongoDB is one of the server. Under that, you have multiple database you can create. Now, why you're creating individual database here? So that like related, now I have one of the social den app is one of the project. Whatever the related tables, or sorry, collections, whatever you have, I'm putting inside this. I have a shopping DB. Under that, I'm going to put all the data related to the particular project. So like this, we create one of the DB. Under that, we are going to create all our collections. Okay, so I want to create our own DB here. So use is a predefined command using which you can create your own database, or you can switch to the existing database. For example, I say use shopping DB. So what actually is happening? Switching to DB. Now, when I say DB command, what is the current DB? It is pointing to shopping DB. Now I say use web application DB. I'm creating, you can give whatever the name you want, but make sure you give a relative name. As our server name is web application, I'm giving the web application DB. Now I say use so and so. You see here, this DB is not existing. If it is existing, it will switch to the DB. If it is not existing, it will create a new database here. So click on enter. This is how it is. Now when I say CLS, I say DB. What is the current DB which is going for? Web application DB. Okay. The two commands what we have seen is DB is one of the command. Sorry, three commands: DB, use, and show DBS. DB is one which actually tells you what is the current database. Show DBS list out all the databases which are already there on the current server. And use is the command which is used to create a new database or switch to a existing database. Any questions up to this?
Oh, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
What is that 0.00 GB is there now with every DB?
No, I say show DBS. Right now, I mean, it actually specifies how much size the particular database is occupying. Right now, mine is too much less, which is like KBs of so and so. That is the reason it is not showing. But if you create too much number of collections, it actually shows the total size, what actually individual database is working. I mean, yeah, individual database is taking. Now, say, for example, in your in your real time, right, what happens is they have the dedicated system. It is not like if you see in my personal laptop, I have my application web server with Node.js. At the same time, I have some Angular stuff related, Node related, and database, everything I'm putting on the same machine. But when you go to the real time, there will be a dedicated machine assigned for 2-3 projects. For 2-3 projects, they take one of the machine under which already MongoDB is there. Everyone create their own database. Now, sometimes there is an issue or some maintenance or whatever it is. They want to know which project is actually using much space or so and so. So in that case, they use this show DBS, which actually let them know that what is the database which is taking what type of, I mean, how much size actually, etc. Did I answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now the current DB what we are using is web application DB. Super fine. So what is the next command we have? db.help, which actually throws the list of all the commands. Okay, so when we go here, come on, where is that? Okay, I say db.help, which actually list out what all the n number of commands you can go for. Okay, there are a hell lot of commands you can actually go with. We can get to know by using the db.help method. Okay, anyway, let me go with the other commands. Show DB, show user, obviously who all are the users who have logged in. That is what it shows. But right now, I want to create a collection here. Okay, before actually going with the get collection names, I would like to create a collection. Collection indirectly is equal to, can I say a collection is a table? I mean, when you compare.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So I say db dot create collection. Okay, I want to create a collection in order to store the user account details. Okay, I would like to mention db dot create collection user account details. This is what the collection name I want to go for. Now, if you see, the collection got created. Okay, db dot user account details dot insert. Okay, insert one is the predefined method, or you can simply say insert. And using this command, you could able to insert a single document into the existing collection, which is indirectly, if you have an idea of what do you say, RDBMS like Oracle or SQL, there the command what you have is insert into table values. You're going to specify what value you wanted. In the same way, here we have dot insert as a method. And if you see here, for first command, what we have given is create collection, where you are not at all specifying the schema of the collection. Schema means the structure. When you go to your RDBMS, there before creating a table, you need to specify that create table so and so with what are the columns you have. This column, what data type it is. This column, how much size it is taking. Those are all things we need to mention there. That is when you go with the RDBMS. But coming to this guy, the MongoDB, we are simply creating a collection. It is schema-less. You don't need to specify the schema of it. Okay. Next. Now, I want to insert this. As we already know, in every row is a document, which is internally a JSON object, isn't it? Now I want to insert some UID. The user ID is, say, some test equal test underscore 1. Okay. I would like to go with the password, and I say something called India. Here, I'm doing a very big mistake here. When I'm storing the password, I'm actually storing the password as it is. None of the database will store the password as it is, guys. We need to do the concept of encryption. We need to encrypt it. That is when you need to store. Anyway, I will come to the topic. First of all, I will show you some of the comments. Then I will show you how do you encrypt the data through the Node.js and how do you decrypt the data. Those are all things we'll see. So I'll do that. Okay. So just remind me if I miss it. We'll see that encryption and decryption also. Okay, so UID is test1, password is India, and I want to go with the mail ID as something called test@gmail.com. This is one of the document what we inserted into the single collection. I want to insert the second user, say some test 001, and password is something called sample, and the mail ID is sample@gmail.com. Click on enter. This is how it is. Let me insert another one. I say Prasad something, password hello @gmail.com. Click on enter. This is how it is. So we inserted 3 documents inside a single collection. Super fine. Now, okay, I simply says, okay, before that, now what I have to say is db dot create collection dot find is a predefined method. Sorry, find is not a function. Don't say, oh, why it is db dot create collection. Db dot, what is the collection name we have? Collection name is user account details dot find. Now if you click on enter, this is what the records document what we have inserted. So db dot collection name dot find is indirectly equal to select a star from so and so table when you go to the MySQL or whatever the RDBMS is there. Okay, here we have something called as find, and when I'm putting this JSON object, which is equal to, you find every other thing. Now you say that, no boss, I want to find out only the guy who is having a user ID called as test. Then you can pass the parameters here. You say UID equal to test underscore 1. Now if you click on enter, you're going to find only the single user. Okay, now the question what you should see is, okay, boss, we have added the UID, password, and mail ID for all the documents. It is getting added. But the question is, what is this underscore ID? We haven't added this. Okay, this is the mandatory thing you need to understand. By default, every document within the JSON object or every document within a collection should have a unique reference. When you go into the RDBMS, there is a concept of primary key where you're going to assign a unique reference for each and every row. But there it is optional. You may give the primary key or you may not give, and it's up to you. You can, and what is the key of a primary? It is you have the customization. But as per the MongoDB, you have the only one key which is called as underscore ID, through which you need to maintain the uniqueness for every document within a collection. Okay. Now on the top, what if the unique ID is not being passed? If you see here, we haven't passed it. When I'm creating this, we haven't passed the underscore ID. But here, it is automatically getting inserted. Automatically underscore ID is getting inserted here. So that happens by default. Now, what if we will insert it? Now, say, for example, I want to insert something called as Prasad underscore user password sm hello1, and I say prasad1.gmail, and here I would like to put something called as underscore id colon something called as s underscore 09. You can give any junk data, any unique data, that's it. Now if you click on enter, it got inserted. Now when I say find method, do you see for every other guy there is some alphabets combination, number combination, you got it. But for this guy, you have s underscore 09 as an ID. So what MongoDB does is, when you are inserting a document to a collection, if you insert the underscore ID, it is fine. But if you don't insert the underscore ID, by default, it will be inserted. And if you see here, I am trying to insert another record having the same ID as s underscore 09. Now, if you click on enter, it throws an error saying that you cannot have multiple document inside a single collection having the same underscore ID value. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Everyone, no questions up to this?
Sir, I have a question.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Sir, if I want to insert a data and mistakenly I have added wrong data, how can I delete?
There is the next comments are there, ma'am. Like for updating and editing and deleting, we do have it. I'll come to that. Okay, so we have all the commands like for deleting, editing, etc. and all. So we'll come to there. Okay.
Sir, why you write password into inverted comma?
Obviously, when you put the JSON object, the value, if it is a string, it should be in inverted commas, right? And in JSON object, the key itself is a string, right? By default.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Everyone so clear on this after this?
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Now, the next thing what you have is, now when I say again find method, you should able to see the data with underscore ID with a custom underscore ID. Okay, fine. Next, what is the other things here? Insert or insert many. So there is something called as dot insert many method, which is used to insert multiple values at a time. Okay, right now we are inserting only a single object here, but we will be seeing sooner that how do we insert multiple objects. Anyway, I will come to that commands, etc. and all. Right now, this is the state, guys. We have created a collection. We have created the documents on it. Super fine. I will give you another record. Boss, you need to create a collection for product details. Okay. You need to create a collection for the product details. Under the product details, you should have the product name, the product ID, the product image, the product price, manufacturer, etc., etc. Assume there are 50 combinations of key and value pairs. Okay, 50 Key values are there under the single product data. And there might be some inner objects, etc. If you have that type of complex JSON object, do you think dot insert is the method can simplify that? Not so easy to write, right? I can't say dot insert object open key value, key value, key value. Something is missing. The complete structure is getting disturbed, isn't it? So boss, I mean, this is where user is feeling not comfortable for inserting. And that too, if you want to insert n number of data, you need to say insert many array of objects, not simple to do this because it is command line interface or a character user interface. Now, how do I solve this? This is where we have another software, which we call it as Mongo Compass, MongoDB Compass. Earlier, it used to be installed as a separate component, but nowadays, whenever we are installing the MongoDB, by default, it even installs MongoDB Compass along with it. Okay, by default, it is going to insert the MongoDB Compass, but it gives you an optional for you. When you're installing, it will ask you, boss, whether are you okay with this or not. Okay, so the next thing is, once you open this Mongo Compass, this is a very, very simple software which acts as a mediator between the user and the MongoDB. Okay, it is a simple software which acts as, I mean, it is not a database. It is just an interface. MongoDB is the database, but between MongoDB and the end user, it acts as an interface through which every other thing we are going to handle. I mean, either putting the comments, either inserting the data, removing the data, whatnot. Any database operation we are going to do through this MongoDB Compass. Okay, so once you open this guy, you can simply click on connect. You can see that MongoDB, by default, it is connecting to the localhost 27017. That is what our port number, right? You can simply say connect. It will be on. You don't need to edit anything. By default, you open the Mongo Compass, click on connect, it will automatically go there. Okay. Now you could able to see all the databases, whatever I have created by default in my current Mongo database server. Yes.
Yes, sir.
On top, earlier we used to put a command, something called as show DBS, which will list out all the databases. But right now in your Mongo Compass, it is showing all the databases by default on the UI. On the top, now you select the database name, which database name you wanted. For example, I will go to the web application DB, what we have created. Once we click on this, you should be able to see that there is a database name, something called as user account details. Once I click on this guy, you should be able to see list of all the data what you have. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Advantage what you have over here is, if you want to do some editing and all, like someone was asking, there is even a command to edit. But say, for example, here I would like to go with the edit. You simply hover on the record, you will get the edit option. Now, once you click on this guy becomes editable. Now I say test instead of 01, I will make it as 02. And you please click on update. That is done. You don't need to write any commands for this. Directly things will be done on the MongoDB Compass. You are inserted on deleting it. You simply click on delete. It'll ask for the confirmation. You can click on the delete. Obviously, the record will be deleted. If you want to insert anything, or if you want to find, so you can simply say find here, where is UID equal to test_1. Now, if you click on find, you will only find the record. So here you could able to use the .find method indirectly. Okay. On the top, editing is there. One more time. Now, when you say that, okay, if at all you want to insert anything, you have, where is that? Yeah. If you want to insert anything, add data, just click on insert a document. It will show you a pop-up. Now here you can put the, say something called as what is the key and what is the value. Every other thing you can paste it. And once you click on insert, it will be inserted. Now, as I was talking about the previous example, there are 100 products data. 100 products are having some 50 key value pairs. Not so easy for me to type and insert. Assume someone is giving you the data here. Now, for example, you can even click on this import file, where you have two options. Either you can store the data in the form of a JSON, or you can store the form of a CSV file. Okay, so once you have the JSON file, a separate JSON file having all the objects, what all product details need to be added, you simply select the input file, import it, it will automatically insert all the values inside this. That is how easy you could able to import a file, or you can even export the data as a file or a JSON or Excel, whatever it is, you can actually even do this. So this is what your Mongo Compass is. And not only this guy, if you want to go with what do you say, creating a collection. Okay, right now you see under this DB, you have only one collection here. Now, once I click on this collection, you have an option of create collection. Where is that? Sorry, what was that?
Click on web application DB.
Yeah, here you have an option of plus option, right? So if you see, when we mouse over on this guy, there is an option, something called as create collection. Now, once I click on this guy, it will be asking for the collection name. I say that product details info. This is what the collection name I want to go with. Now, once I click on this collection, another collection gets created. Okay, where you have the size 0. And if you see the document size, individual all the document size, it is 36.0 bytes it is. Okay. So any questions up to this, guys? I know a lot of things to be discussed, but up to this, whatever you have discussed, are you okay on this? Any questions? Hope you are following me.
Sir,
Go ahead.
what are those, when you created another collection, some 3 options were there below that, some caped collection and all. What are those? Can you please explain?
Okay, so once you see here, you have the description here, the capped collection. Capped collection means you can specify the size, something called as 100. So what do you mean by this? There is no option for the user to go beyond that. Like you say that, okay, boss, I want to create this collection, which is having the maximum size of 100 KB. If you see here, it is clearly specified. Fixed size collection that supports high throughput, that insert and retrieve documents, so and so. So whatever the maximum size in bytes we have, just a capped collection. I mean, the maximum limit, whatever you have, maximum limit. That too in the form of bytes. And coming to this guy, the user custom collection. So with a collection which actually allows language, I mean, anything, like you can put some Chinese string, when you put inside a string, not only the alphabet characters, you can put any type of data what you go for. Okay, so which is specific to the language. And when you come to the time series is, it actually, what do you say? You are going to specify after what time this has to be stored. If you see here, the time series collection efficiently stores sequence of measurements over a period of time. Okay, for example, so this is string. I mean, this is new part for me. Specify which field should be used as time field for the time series collection. Okay, so under this, we are going to specify, say, for example, you are inserting user information. You want to track the information based on the time. Assume under the collection, you have given a key called as inserted time, and you are storing the time. Now here you can specify what is the key using which you are going to track the time series of the particular data within the collection. That you can specify it. Okay.
Okay,
and meta field, obviously we know that, right? It is almost like a meta tag which holds the extra information of the particular collection. Now you can put an extra field, something called info, etc. So I mean, these all are the extra information. Anyone who don't have an idea of your collection, what you have created, they can go for this and they'll get to know that, okay, these all are the extra features what you have added to the collection. Okay, and the granularity is the new one for me too. The granularity field allows specify a Coarser granularity, so measurement over a longer time span can be more efficiently stored or queried. What do you mean by this? A granularity field allows specifying a coarser granularity, so measurements over a longer time span can be more efficiently stored. I'm not much sure on it. I will actually discuss this, and I'll check on it and let you know. And expiry. So this is actually like which specifies after what time you want to delete the records. Okay, you know what actually this means? Like in general, right? People will be storing some logging information. Logging is what all the activity happened today. So they can actually, that is only for today. Once it is tomorrow, I can just kill the data, whatever I have. So here you need to specify in the form of seconds. Say, for example, I want to clear all the database on each and every 5 hours of time. So convert the 5 hours into milliseconds. Seconds, it is into seconds, and give that value. It will be automatically deleting. I mean, whatever the data you have inside the collection, it will be automatically deleted at the specific time. Did I answer your question, Kumkum?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, that's a good question.
Sir, if we set the size, we can't change it.
Here you can edit it, right? Guys, if you're not talking, can you please go into mute? Yeah. So yeah, someone asked me a question. Once you specify the size and etc., it is always possible to edit it. There is nothing like once you create a collection, it cannot be edited. Once you create a collection, you can still go for the editing. Say, for example, you added 100 KB initially. Later, you want to change it to 1000. You can always do the editing. But in general, what happens is you can see this Mongo Compass UI where you can update and delete and edit and all, right? In general, these operations will not be permitted for a general developer. Being a developer, you won't be having these type of changes. It's all for the admin. There will be like an admin role. Like once you log into this MongoDB with the admin role, only you will be getting a feature of editing the thing. So rarely happens. Am I clear with the question?
Yes, sir.
Sir, we are
Yes, ma'am.
entering it as a string. What if you want to enter an integer or a date and time? Then in MongoDB, how do we have to store? Should we provide codes, or without codes can we store it?
That is what here, ma'am, Pravita. If it is a JSON object, how do you store the date? Is it is as a date format or a string format? Think of it is like a plain JSON object. How do you store a date? Come on.
In a string.
Like a string.
That's it. Whatever you're doing in the
Okay.
JSON object, the same thing. Now, the only thing is here, I don't added the numbers, right? Okay, assume I'm going to edit it. I want to go with plus here. Add field after mail ID. I say something called as count. Now, I want to make it as 0. Why it is becoming string? I don't want to make it as string here. Let me make it as in 64 bytes. Now, if you see here, I can even insert it. So when here there is an option, but assume I want to insert from here. Okay, I would like to say S099. Okay, and here I would like to insert something called as count of 21 or as 11. Now, if you click on enter, 1 got inserted. Now, if you say find here, is count is treated as a string or a number? Yes. If you don't put in inverted commas, obviously it is going to be a number or whatever it is. You can give this whatever the data types you are supported in your JavaScript, everything can be given over here.
So like we can also have a JSON or a array.
Yes. Now, say for example, you want another object, something called as data. Now, under this, you are going some another objects. It is all possible. That is whatever you could do inside the JSON object, the same thing can be done even, the same structure you can insert within a collection.
Okay, okay, sir. Sir, as of now, we are having like 3 keys. What if I want to add another key to the existing ID?
Okay. Now, existing document, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now you say document dot user account details dot update is a predefined method. Okay. Under this update, you need to find out UID equal to something called as Prasad underscore user, comma, you say sample, say some test. Now if you click on enter, now what happened? Matched 0. Why so? Don't I have a Prasad underscore user?
User account details spelling mistakes.
Oh my god. User account DETAILS. Don't say this.
Okay, okay, sir. I
Now
got
if you
it.
see here, what happened here? But you know the problem, what you will see is once I say find method, you see here complete record got deleted. Only the ID is there, only the sample is there. This is where the problem. So this is where what you can say, anytime you're going to update it, for sure you need to specify the existing object. Am I clear?
Sir, I did not get it.
What
So
I
why
mean?
did the other keys got deleted?
Okay. The first of all thing is when I say db dot so and so table dot update, you need to update. What is that? You find out a guy who is having a UID equal to Prasad underscore user, and you need to replace that guy with this object or this object. So it is completely replacing with this. Now, if at all you want to add new thing, you need to give the existing thing along with the new part what you have.
Okay, okay,
Okay,
okay,
so now
sir.
you need to say here something like what is the UID again, what is the so and so, every other part
Okay,
you have to specify it again.
okay, okay, sir.
Am I clear?
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Yeah. So any more questions?
Sir, which data type we cannot store in database, sir?
Which data type we cannot store in the database? Any data type what JavaScript is supporting, we can store it.
Function can store, sir? Function.
Yes, that is what, right? A JSON object is capable of storing it. It is capable of storing. That's it.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So this is how we created a object here, guys. I mean, we created a collection and we have inserted the data into it. A bit of idea what we got. Only some operations we have seen like selecting and inserting, etc. Now our next step is how do we actually interact with the Node.js? I think this is the minimum knowledge. It is enough. It is enough for us so that we can actually create a communication from the Node.js to the Mongo database. Okay. I have a question from Varaprasad. Sir, can we store data in a row wise? That is what row is, right, Prasad? If you see here, when I say find out so-and-so, this is what the data you can see here. This is what a row is. In your collection, row indicates a single JSON object. There is nothing like a table type of structure in your MongoDB. Am I clear, Varaprasad? Okay, nice. Now, what is our next step? Okay, so the next step, what we have is, let us go back to our application. So where is our application here? Go to your E drive, go to the git new, go to the web application, CMD, I say npm start. So guys, these are the real-time scenarios what we're about to discuss. So put some extra attention here. Okay, now I have my server. Now I say localhost 8081, click on enter. This is how it is coming. Now I give the admin and test. It is going inside and it is showing me the product details. Okay, this is a happy flow what we have. But we know that whenever we are giving the user ID and password, let's go with the paint. Okay, so I have the UI, okay, which is called as client or UI. And now my requirement, we have already implemented this. It is actually going to the server guy. Okay, this is the server, which is your Node.js. Okay, so when the client guy is interacting with the server through the web service URL, we are simply responding back whether the ID and password is valid or not. This is the flow what we have already implemented. But you see the problem what we have is in your Node.js server, we are actually hard coding the data. Okay, we are not even putting something, we are nothing doing dynamically here. We are simply hard coded the data, something called as admin and test. Every time it is comparing only the admin and test only. Okay, but do you really recommend that? No, we know that there is a database for us, which we call it, which is your database, which is your MongoDB, which is already there, having a collection with all the user ID and credentials. My expectation is the thing what we are missing here is server need to put a request. Yes, the client guy will directly put a request to the server guy. Server guy internally need to put a question to the database, and we has to see whether the given ID credentials are there or not within the database. Now the database will return to the server, then the server will return back to the UI. That is what we have to implement. Am I clear here? Theoretically.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Everyone
sir.
understood what are we going to do? Okay, so let us get back to our web service. We already created one of the web service called validate user credentials. Under this, we are hard coding the data, admin and password as test. I don't want to do this. We need to create a communication to the Mongo database. So this is where we need a driver, because MongoDB is a external database or external software. Node.js is a different software. Now, how do I make my Node.js to interact with the Mongo database? So for that, you need to install the corresponding, you need to have the corresponding driver. So for this, we have a dedicated or an official MongoDB package, which we call it as MongoDB. So here you guys might be having a question that, boss, you said that initially to make use of the URL, you are using a node module called as URL. In order to make use of the Express, you are using Express. You are using something called as path module. Like this, there are lots of modules. How do we get to know? How do we get to know that what are the modules which are available and what are the methods which are available inside it? How to make use of it? How do we know this? So this is where you have a dedicated web page, something called as npmjs.com, a dedicated web page being maintained by the NPM team, Node Package Manager team. The team's responsibility is to showcase list of all the node modules, whatever available under this. And it even provides you a minimum documentation how to make use of the node module. For example, you have to say that, boss, I have to make use of MongoDB. How do I do that? Come over here and search for this. You say something called as MongoDB. So it will list out what all the node modules which are available, which has to work on Mongo database. Okay, so if you see here, the very first one is official MongoDB driver for the Node.js. And once you open this guy, you should be able to see how to make use of that node module, who has created it, author, information, who all are the collaborators. If we see here, who all are the collaborators you have, the latest publishing, what, 8 days before they have some changes, every other information will be available under this guy. And not only MongoDB, you say something called as, there is something called as Express. I want to know something about Express Node module because I'm very much new to the Node.js. I don't know what method to use, where to use. You simply click on this. It will show you what all the things you can use. Anytime you have to make use of Express, this is how you create an instance, app.express. Every minimum information will be available over here. Right now, our interest is for the MongoDB. So click on enter. I go for this guy. I see the documentation. In future, whenever I say that, boss, can you, in your organization, people will ask you, boss, can you implement sessions? You don't know what module is available, how to use it, how to, what methods I need to make use. You simply come out here, search for that sessions. You should be able to find modules, lot of modules. This is what the advantage you have with your open source technologies. The reason is, if you see, the contribution is not being done by the organizations. It is being done by the outside people. Anyone who knows Node.js, you can come out here, create it, and you can publish it. If it is useful, everyone will start make use of it. That is how it gets the popularity. Okay. So in the same way, now once you come to this UI, the documentation, you should be able to see how do we install this guy, npm install MongoDB. Later, how do we include that guy? This is how you need to include this guy. Whatever the Mongo client you have, every other thing, you can actually, there is a very simple example what they have given. How do we create a connection to the Mongo database? So let me make use of all of this and create a MongoDB connection here. Okay. So the very first step, what they are saying is, boss, create a Mongo client object. Okay. Let us come back to this. I'm coming to the validate credentials and I'm using Mongo client. Okay. I haven't talked about the constant. So that is the reason I'm going with the var, because when we actually go to the ECMA 6, I will talk about the const keyword and the let keyword. Okay. Those things I'll do later. So when I say Mongo client, what actually this Mongo client is, it is a object which is from the MongoDB node module. Okay. Now after this guy, it is asking us to create a URL. So how do you actually create a, you need to create a URL to connect your local database. So this is the protocol. You would have seen HTTP protocol, HTTPS protocol, but for the Mongo database, you have something called as MongoDB protocol, what is the local host? Right now, you're connecting to the Mongo database, which is in your local machine. Instead of this local host, you can put your system name also. And this is the default port number. Right now, your MongoDB is running 27017. Okay. And the next part, what we have on the top is, you need to create a connection, client connection, Mongo client connection you need to create. But do you really think I need to create a connection here? Mongo client of URL. Okay, just give me a second, guys. Let me try this connection. Request.query. I say const Mongo client. Mongo client URL. They have actually changed this. Earlier it was in a new way. A bit got changed. Client. Where db is equal to Mongo client dot. db is equal to Mongo client dot connect with URL. db dot. No, this is not the way actually. Mongo client.connect the URL. Let me see what actually it is happening. They actually changed the way we have to. I'm getting an error. It is saying that can't find the node module. Obviously, we need to say npm install MongoDB. We need to install that module. Okay. Let me start my server. Okay. And what is the path of this guy? This guy is validate user login, right? Let me hit this guy from here. Login. Oh, awesome. Now I'm getting the connection object. Now using this db.connect. What is the database name we have? Our database name is web application db dot connect web application. db.connect web application. Oh, sorry. Here it will be getting the client object. db dot collection equal to db dot collection. What is the collection name we have? User account details. Let me check that, guys. If it works, then I will give the explanation. Method dot connect only accepts a callback. That is what I'm giving. Method dot connect Mongo client dot connect. Oh, this is not client dot connect, right? Client dot db it is. Okay. So the problem is It is 10272. Collection.find db.collection client.db. Okay, awesome. Okay, so let us talk about the coding here. So my first requirement, what I have is, whenever user hits this web service, we are passing the data. We are passing the data in the form of the post communication. We already saw that if it is post communication, request.body is the one what we have. Okay, super fine. But now, in order to create a MongoDB connection, what I'm doing is I'm creating a Mongo client request object. Okay, this Mongo client is coming from the existing node module, which is called as MongoDB. Okay, now under this, we are creating a URL of your Mongo database with a MongoDB protocol, MongoDB colon, what is the server name and what is the port number. Okay, we specified the URL. Next, what we have done, using the Mongo client, we are connecting to the database. We have created a URL. Through this URL, we are actually connecting to the database. Okay. In response, we have a callback method which provides two callback parameters. We already know that the speciality on your Node.js is the first parameter always be an error, where the second parameter is the success, whatever it is. Okay. Now here, error in the sense, what if the MongoDB is down for some issue with the URL so and so, error object will be automatically fired. And the second option what you have is client. Client object means this is the reference. Now you got the complete, you got the reference to an existing Mongo database. On the top, client is an object using which you're going to put some query on the database. Okay. So for that, you're saying that under the client, okay, client indicates the complete Mongo database server. Under that, I want to connect to the database called as web application DB. Super fine. Under that, what is the collection I want to connect to? Collection is from the database, you have to connect to a collection which is called as user account details. On the top, I'm putting a command collection.find whatever the object. I want every other thing, right? ToArray is a predefined method. All the data, whatever you get from the result, convert into an array. Okay. So once you have this, what logic need to be done, I'll show you. But do you see here, whenever I'm putting a query, the magic what you see is, could we able to get the data from the particular collection from the Mongo database into the Node.js server? Yes, this is what we achieved. Now this flow happened. Client is putting a request to the server, server is putting a request to the database, and from the database you got the results under the server. So any questions in this piece of code? Forget about these guys from line number 15 to 24. Anything else other than this, let me know. I will give the explanation if you feel confused. Come on, anyone? Any line number, just tell me guys, I'll explain it again.
So line number 13.
Line number 13. Okay. Up to line number 12, what are we doing? We are getting the reference to the collection, which is called as user account details. Now on the top, do I need to run some command? Yes, right. I mean, on the collection called as user account details, what I need to do? I'm saying something called as dot find method. Find method in the sense it will give you list of all the data under this user account details collection. Now, whatever the data you got, I want to convert into an array. If you see here on the response, what I have, array of objects. That is the reason we are saying that to array. Obviously, the first value will be error, indicates if the collection is not there. If the collection is empty, then that will be fired automatically. And the second parameter is the data. I mean, what data we are receiving from the MongoDB. Am I clear? Line number 13.
So sir, we can provide two JSON as two array.
To JSON, the reason is once you go into a collection, do you treat all the data as a JSON or array of individual rows or individual documents? It should be array of individual JSON object, right? Inside a collection.
Yes, sir.
In general, we don't want to treat all the data of a single collection as a single object, right? It is like multiple data where each and every document is a individual row. Now you take an array of this. So that is the reason in general, in your real time, we only go with this guy. I mean, only two array.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Sir, you explain line number 3.
Line number 3. From the existing MongoDB, there is an existing class, something called as Mongo client. You simply take a reference of it. Now we are doing the same, right? Var express equal to require express. In the same way, var Mongo client, because I want to treat it as an object, I just simply put it as a flower brace. That's it. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Next, anyone, any line number? Guys, again, I'm telling, this is the actual real-time scenario. Once you go into the organization, this is what you actually do. I mean, hitting the database, generate, dynamically getting the data, processing them. So those are all things we do. So let me know if you have questions. Okay, clear everyone? Now, my requirement is whatever the ID and password user is giving, check whether it is available or not. But what is the query I have written? We have written something called as find all. Assume one user account details I'm giving to the database. Right now, my logic is get me the list of all the data from the database of the particular collection. Now you compare the values. That is one option. But assume I have something called as 1000 user account details. What is the reason you are fetching all the data? Again, putting a for loop on it. Now, what I need to do here, you need to put a for loop. Okay, right now, let me remove this. You need to put a for loop on this data array. Go to each and every object, see whether that UID and password are equal or not. Why you really want to make it complicated? Instead of this, can I do one thing? Why don't you put the query itself on the database to find out the given UID and the password? Why don't you put a find query here to find out the required details? Now, can I simply say under the find method, I will say UID colon what UID you wanted, password, what password you wanted. What is the UID we wanted here? Is it not request.body.uid? Whatever the UID, what user is passing, it is under the request.body.uid. Yes. What is the password we have? Request.body.password here. Copy this and paste it here. Isn't it simple for me? Now, what I'm saying, don't find every other guy. Only find the guy who is having this given ID and given password, and you're finding an array. Now, here I will put a condition. If data.length, if data is having minimum one record, can I say that ID and password is valid? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Simple, right? Instead of getting all the data, putting a for loop, etc. and all. Now I'll do this. I'll put the logic of this guy here. I'll say response data MSG so-and-so. if at all the data dot length, it is having some length. Now I see that response dot message is valid. If this is not the case, if it is 0, obviously it is invalid data, as simple as it is. Now, if you remove this is all as usual. Now, if you save this guy, come back here and restart this guy, npm start, come back to the application. I say admin and I say test. Once I click on login, it is saying like invalid credentials. See here, I say admin, I say test. Earlier we have hard coded that guy. Now it is saying like invalid credentials. Let us go into the database, see what is the valid credentials you have. There is something called as test underscore 002 and password is sample. Let us see this. I say test underscore 003. I will try it out. Say something called as sample. Once you click on login, again, is it like invalid credentials? Okay. Now, if I make a test 02, once I click on login, even this guy is saying invalid credentials. Why so? Why it is? Find the UID. Oh, what is this UI? It is not UI, right? It is UID, isn't it? In the database, it is stored in the form of UID and password. Where is that? UID and password. Okay, now if you save this guy, restart your server. Okay, go here. Now if I give 3, click on login, invalid credentials. But if I say 2, click on login, it is validating from the database. Accordingly, the UI is getting responded, boss. Yes, sir. That is how simple you can make this complete flow. Till now, we were hard coding all the data from the UI or from the server. From now, no hard coding the data. Everything, whatever you wanted. Right now, if you see the product details, whatever you have, it is hard coded. Instead of hard coding this, can we read this data from the DB? But for that, first of all, this data has to be part of the database. Okay, first of all, we need to insert all this data into the database. From there, you're going to pick the data and you're going to read the data, which I'll be showing it tomorrow. And yeah, any questions on this, guys? Hope everybody understood this complete flow, the end-to-end flow.
Yes.
No questions, anyone? Simple it is. Okay. So today I want everyone to try it out, guys. In fact, another assignment what I can ask anyway, tomorrow I'm going to do, but there is a product details page which is having all the data in the form of hard coded inside your service, which I'm going to submit this piece of code. Now, what I want you guys to do is here you have to create a MongoDB request, and under the DB, you have to already insert this MongoDB data. The product details data. Now, how you're going to fetch it, that is what you need to do that. If not, tomorrow I'm going to help out. And another thing is, right now, what if I'm a new user? I'm clicking on new sign up here. So in this new sign up, do we need to insert the data into the database or do we need to read the data from the database?
We need to insert.
Insert it. Whatever the new user ID and credentials, whatever you have, we need to take it and we need to insert into the database. So that thing tomorrow I'm going to discuss. Today we have only seen the simple find method. Tomorrow we'll see how do we insert, and if you want to update it, how do you update it, and product details, those all things we'll be looking. And tomorrow while inserting, do remind me, guys, I will even talk about the encryption and decryption mechanism also. Okay. Okay, Ali is having a question. So is object ID in DB is the BSON object? No, actually, Ali. Object ID is a simple object which is having some unique ID. That's it. It is not a BSON. BSON indicates internally your MongoDB stores the complete object, not only a single key value. The complete JSON object, whatever we are giving each and every record, it will be stored in the form of binary format for its simplicity. I mean, internally it does a lot of searchings, etc. and all, right? To make all everything happen, it stores in the form of binary format. So that is BSON, not this guy. Am I clear, Ali? Okay, fine, guys. So if you don't have any question, we'll pause for today. Make sure everybody is there. Tomorrow, we are going to talk about the other latest part of this. Okay, so have a good day and bye for today, guys.
Okay, sir. Good night.